You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is May the 25th, 2020. With you today is myself, Carl, and Stevie Nick.
And you know who else is with you here today, Carl? The summertime, because it is summer, baby.
It is quite summer. You had a summery weekend. It wasn't a long weekend for us here in Canada. That was last weekend, but you made the most of it.
I did. So remember that barbecue I was talking about 2 weeks ago when we were on the air? It finally showed up last week, so that was nice. And I got to barbecue all weekend.
That is the most COVID of delivery times, though.
Oh my goodness. It was such an ordeal to get that thing. But it's here and it works great and it makes delicious food. Well, I make the food, it just heats it up for me.
Right, it helps you. It's the tool you use.
That's right.
What was on the menu this weekend?
Well, Friday night we did burgers, just a classic starter on the barbecue. Saturday was rib day because the ribs take a little longer, so I wanted to make sure I could give them the attention they deserved. And they ended up being delicious. And Sunday we threw a couple sausages on there, some hot Italians.
That sounds great. Yesterday I went to the grocery store, and I don't know if you are the one who goes to the grocery store in your household.
I'm not, no.
It is not fun. I used to enjoy a nice trip to the grocery store. Not anymore. And so I went there yesterday. It was a very stressful experience, but my goal was to find some vegetables to grill and also some meat to grill. And I came out with a collection of chicken wings and carrots. I mean, separately tasted great, but as a meal, I was like, I don't like this, but I just need to get out of this store. So,
man, it's brutal. I went to the dollar store on Saturday and I was appalled. There's people wearing that masks, customers, around their necks. I'm like, do you not understand the purpose of wearing a mask?
I have had staff members who work at stores. Like I went to, where was it? I forget. I was picking up food from somewhere and the guy comes out and he's got like it just over his mouth and not over his nose. This is our public service announcement. That doesn't help you.
Wear your mask properly. Follow the arrows on the floor in the stores that you go to. And don't shop. Just go in, get what you need, and get out.
Here's the one. This is gonna make you furious because I can tell from just this little bit you're already a little upset.
Oh, I'm so mad.
When you go to the grocery store, sometimes, right? I mean, pre-COVID, you would, you'd look for things, right? Like you might pick up a piece of fruit and be like, ooh, no, right? You'd squeeze your melons or whatever you do.
100%, yeah.
Try to find that lucky apple. There was someone going through the eggs and swapping them between cartons, Nick.
No.
I was not happy.
No. See, this is like, and when I go in and I see people like do it, like you said, looking all the apples over, I'm done. Like, don't touch everything.
No.
When swapping eggs, what kind of world do you think we live in right now?
I mean, she doesn't want cracked eggs, Nick.
And then to get to the cash register, I bet you she walked down the wrong aisle with the arrows pointing in the opposite direction.
Probably. I had someone else. I gave someone a dirty look for walking the wrong way down the aisle, and I was told no one cares about the arrows in the aisles anymore. It doesn't matter.
Like I got a dirty look for telling the lady to follow the arrows. I was like, "You're going the wrong way." It's very clear.
Yeah. Well, me and that person did have some words that we exchanged, and I said, "You need to care about the health of everyone else. It's not about you. You can walk down one aisle." And she was even just using it to get through to like the stuff at the other end. So just walk the aisle over. It's not that hard.
Keep fighting the good fight, Carl.
Anyways, this has been a preemptive quarantine corner.
Little rant shack to start the episode off.
A little quarantine rant shack. I mean, we've all got our things, Nick, and this is what we will get to some quarantine corner. We also have, since the last time we were here, there's been some significant news in some areas, a lack of news in other areas. We'll get to all of that this week. Before we do, let's go to our friends at Park Power who power this show so that we can share our quarantine thoughts with you. We can bring you the latest in the NHL. ParkPower.ca is your place to go for your utility needs in Alberta. You need energy, you need utilities, and Park Power is the place to go for you. Head on over there.
I look like I just got zapped by a bunch of power.
You look like that kid in Jurassic Park when he like climbs the fence and holds on to it. He gets zapped and then his hair's all like that. Is literally, you look like him at 30.
Man, I need a haircut so bad. This is terrible.
Well, if you, much like Nick, need electricity to do that, head to parkpower.ca where you can get great utilities at a great price from fantastic companies. So head on over there. Well, we found out some information, Nick. I mean, like, what would you say is the piece of information we've been waiting the longest to find out from the NHL?
Okay, I'll answer that, but I will also say the best part about this news is that it came this week and not last week.
It's true.
It's not like we didn't have a week. I think the best news that came out is that the format has been decided, the return to play format.
So we've got return to play format has been decided. Also, return to play protocol has been announced by the league. We have been waiting, I believe, a month and a half for them to announce the NHL draft will be happening at the beginning of June. It's not.
Hey man, Zoom meetings can come together very quickly.
I realized this week, and I don't know why it took me this long to figure it out, but I was just like sitting around and I'm like, man, I guess we're not having a draft at the beginning of June. like, you know, as time does, it sneaks up on you. And I'm like, May's almost over. Like that first week of June draft, probably not going to happen. So
no, I don't think so.
We found some news about that this week. Let's start with our return to play format.
The big news.
The big news, which has now been approved by both the league and the players.
Yep.
We are going to have ourselves, Nick, a 24-team tournament to settle this season in the NHL. What do you think?
I think that we didn't talk about this before going on the air, so we have no idea how the other person feels.
I wanted an honest opinion from you because I have an honest opinion for you.
I like it. Carl's shaking his head at me. We're gonna get out of here. Look, there is no scenario that this season and the playoffs and the Stanley Cup are coming back this year that is not unfair in some way to some teams. There's no scenario.
I can agree with that. Yep.
So no matter what they decide on, it's going to be unfair to some teams. I like the chaos, the urgency, the potential for upsets, the drama that this format's going to have, because it will have drama.
Well, especially because we're looking at, so if you have not seen, the way it's going to work is there's going to be 12 teams from each conference. So the top 12 teams from each conference
should explain that.
Are going to make it. And that's fine. We have lots of time, Nick. There's not really much else for us.
Well, I was going to read this 29-page document on the air, so.
Okay. I mean, have you been practicing your Morgan Freeman voice more? Because if so, let's just get to that.
No, explain the format.
12 teams per conference. The top 4 get a bye to the second round. And then the other 8 play a first round. Obviously, you get eliminated and then you move on. So, that's how that's going to work. And so you have all these teams. So there's 7 teams, Nick, that have been determined so miserably terrible that they cannot even make a playoff that has about 75% of the league in it.
I like how those teams get a vote anyways. Like, not really going to affect us. We couldn't make the playoffs anyways.
Yeah. I mean, and they were in favor of it. So
I wouldn't have any problem with it if I were them.
I mean, for them, it's a way for the league to make some money.
Yeah.
So we have, I mean, it's probably easier for us to say the teams that aren't going to make it. Let's see if we can figure out off the top of our heads the bottom 7 teams in the NHL.
Okay.
The Red Wings.
Okay, you didn't have to think so hard about that one, but I appreciate it.
Tried.
Okay.
Senators.
Yeah.
Sharks.
Yeah.
All of California. And
Well, you already said the Sharks.
Did I?
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Ottawa. Sharks. Anaheim. LA. 2 more teams. Buffalo.
Yeah.
And
I can't
not
think of
Minnesota. It's not. Who's another terrible team? The Devils.
It's got to be the Devils.
It is the Devils. There you go. They were 14th in the West, or in the East. They do not make it. So those are our 7 teams. Everyone else is in the playoffs, completely ruining the elimination station entirely.
Well, yeah. Are they technically in the playoffs? Or are they? Is this like quote unquote first round a play-in round? It's not really the first round of the playoffs.
I mean, I guess you could call it that, but this is going to be, so that first round is going to be best of 3. Correct, Nick?
Is it best of 3 or best of 5?
I thought it was, I could be mistaken. Maybe it is best of 5.
I thought it was best of 5, but I could be wrong because I was searching for that information and had a hard time finding it.
Yeah. So that's one piece that we have, again, not clarity on. And then the rest of them will be best of 7. From what I can tell. And then we go from there. So there's talk that there might be, while that first round happens, a mini round robin to seed the other 4 teams as well.
Yes, I heard that as well. Although it kind of sounds like they made that rule just because the other teams didn't want to start cold. So they're like, how can we get them playing each other?
It absolutely seems like a fair thing to do. To go from just like practice, even if it's just like exhibition, like it doesn't really matter, but to have something that counts. But I personally think that I know that this is literally only a money grab. This is the only reason it's happening, right? Why most of it happens, but I saw the number, the NBA as a whole is apparently loses $1 billion in revenue every day during the shutdown.
Oh my God.
And it's been, over 2 months now that they've been shut down. So that's 20, 30, no, that's not the math I'm looking for, like $60, $70 billion that have been lost in revenue. Yeah. So, NHL's smaller business than the NBA, but still in the hundreds of millions of dollars a day, I would assume. Therefore, anything that they can do to make money back, I get it. However, I just think that there could be much better ways to do this than what
what's bothering you about it?
It's just teams that are so terrible. And I get that, like, you say there's going to be drama. That drama is because some trash team is going to get on a 3-game heater and knock someone out of the playoffs. And that
the system should correct itself if that's the case.
Or
you're saying it's not about the team that's winning, it's about the team that's getting knocked out?
It's about both. Like, we have teams that are coming in cold, because even if, like, you're going to have training camp, you're going to have some amount of, like, getting warmed up, but it's an entire crapshoot. And for us to, I know that, like, currently we're going to look at it and be like, okay, but, like, that tournament doesn't really count. But, like, history is not fully going to remember what this was, right? Like,
I think that's true regardless of what the format is, though.
You could have made it fair. Like, you could have made it so you don't have essentially every team in the league in it. And it is the most likely outcome is that the best team on paper, the best team through the regular season wins. But in playoffs, weird things happen anyways. And when you come in without having played games for the last 3 months and jump straight into playoffs, even weirder things can happen.
Yeah, and I get that it kind of devalues the regular season as well. I just feel like they're so far gone from the regular season at this point. It's, we talked about it last time we did a show. This has now been longer than the off season.
Yeah,
it's almost like scrap the regular season and let's just have a tournament for the Stanley Cup.
See, I would be more okay with that. If we were to we don't have enough for like a full 32 team bracket, but like if you're like,
but that's essentially what they're doing and eliminating the teams that suck.
like that are just objectionably terrible.
Yeah.
Let them play too. Like, who cares at this point? Like, if you're going to let 24 in, like, you might as well let them all in. Like, what did Buffalo do to deserve not playing that Montreal did? There's not a whole lot. You're just randomly picking numbers at this point in time, and you said 24 is a good number. Let's go with that.
I don't know. I don't know if we're going to come out of this agreeing with each other. I like it as a tournament. I think it works. How you choose which teams are in, which teams are out. I haven't looked at the standings in a long time.
You do, I also didn't. But what I did, so right now Boston currently first in the league, and like they've got like a 6-point lead over the Blues. I would be more okay with like give Boston a first round bye and then just seed them 1 through, or I guess 2 through 31 and play that out. Like make that your tournament. And then you can still do best of 3 in the first round, best of 5, best of 7, whatever you want as you go. Like make it that. You're going to get the NHL's big desire is to get as much money as humanly possible. You know what's going to get you more money? More markets. So now you have every single market in the league having games during this playoff run. Everyone's going to tune in. But now you've eliminated, sure, the big markets are in there, but markets you've eliminated, the entire state of California not represented here, right? Detroit.
But they weren't going to be anyways. Like, these teams have already been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
I'm just saying, there's a better way that you could do it. If your goal is money, which I assume it is, and to get some closure to this season, that gets it for you.
Yeah.
That said, I'm not so upset with this that I'm not going to watch
it. Is anybody?
No. It's going to be, again, you are correct. There is no way that you could have something that can make everyone happy, that everyone will say is fair, that when you hand out the Stanley Cup, I assume they're still handing out the Stanley Cup. That's something that they didn't officially say, but when you hand out the Stanley Cup in early September, I'm sure everyone will be thrilled to receive it. So,
yeah. And most of the teams and the players seem to be on board. They all voted for it except for the Lightning and the Hurricanes, because apparently they're afraid of the New York Rangers.
Hurricanes don't like the format because they just want as few teams to have to go through as possible. Which I appreciate the honesty of that. I like that.
I agree. Okay, so these opening rounds, where is the biggest chance of an upset?
So, hit us with the matchups. What is our first round?
Okay, let's start in the Eastern Conference. Okay, we have Toronto versus Columbus, 8th versus 9th seed. Pittsburgh versus Montreal, 5 versus 12. Carolina versus New York, 6 versus 11, and New York Islanders versus Panthers, 7 versus 10.
Look, we know what the Leafs do in the playoffs. Could you imagine if, here's the thing. If the Leafs win that matchup against Columbus, they play Boston in the next round.
Yeah.
Big question for Leafs fans. Would you rather lose to Columbus in the first round or Boston in the second round?
I know my answer, but I'm no Leafs fan, so I'll just shut my mouth.
I know what I want. But I would say for me, that's the matchup that I would be intrigued with. Carolina, New York, Montreal, Pittsburgh would be an interesting one too, because you've got like the questionable goaltending in Pittsburgh, whereas like Carey Price can go on a heater and carry that team for a little bit. So I would say Montreal would probably be my most likely upset.
Really? Wow. There's so much parity in this league, man. Like, you start looking at some of these matchups and I'm like, yeah, New York Rangers could definitely beat Carolina. The Panthers could definitely beat the Islanders.
Especially if they do a best of two. Like, can any of those teams win 2 games in a row? Yeah.
Yeah, if they do a best of 3, for sure.
But even if it's a best of 5 or even 7. I mean, Columbus swept Tampa last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not the same team, but
yeah.
Torts was able to coach that team to beat Tampa. You think he can't coach them to beat Toronto?
And they played well this season too. Better than I thought they would. Okay, let's do the Western Conference. Okay, we have 8 versus 9, Calgary versus Winnipeg. 5 versus 12, Edmonton versus Chicago. 6 versus 11, Nashville versus Arizona. 7 versus 10, Vancouver versus Minnesota.
I mean, upset-wise, I think Chicago ended the regular season moderately well.
They could do it, too. They could beat the Oilers.
Yeah.
I know they could. I think the one I'm most sure of in this conference is Nashville beating Arizona.
Yeah.
That one to me seems like the biggest mismatch.
Especially with Memorial Day, like the long weekend right now. Do you have any idea how many hot dogs Phil Kessel ate this weekend?
This quarantine.
He can't come back from this.
He's just got water in the pot all day, every day.
Wisconsin has no more hot dogs left in the state. Like toilet paper, they're fine. They've got toilet paper for days, but hot dogs, no. Well, there we go. So those would be our matchups. They would move on to the second round. When we think back on this, like, because one of the big things is like so-and-so has never won a playoff round, right? That's a thing that you say all the time. Or like, this team hasn't won a playoff round until this point in time. Do we count this round as playoff success in the future?
No, I wouldn't. If I were the league, I wouldn't either. I would consider this as a play-in series, not part of the official playoffs.
Okay, so the second round is the actual first round, and that's when it counts.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it. Now, how are they planning logistically to do this? Is this like a 4 hub city thing or 2 hub city?
Well, so that's part of the thing. Is so the players and voted on this with the caveat of like, if able to, this is the format that we'll play. I've seen 2 hub city mentioned. I've seen 4 hub city mentioned. 2 would be a lot, right? Like having 12 teams show up, an East and a West one. Because I was trying to do the math. For 12 teams, it would probably be about 600 people would be in one location. Because you've got, I mean, even just players, that's 12 teams of 25 is 300 players. Then coaching staff, media to a degree as they're allowed to. But if not media, the folks running the cameras, right? Camera people are going to be there. The booth guys are going to be there. Officials are going to be there. Trainers, all the equipment staff, all of that are going to be there. Because I have seen, so we have a bit of a precedent now, at least, because with having NASCAR back, they're Fox, but they don't have much for hockey, just the local stuff, but they're doing all of their broadcasting from the local or like the main hub studio. So they're not actually on site, the announcers.
I would assume that there'd be no media allowed on site. Maybe the play-by-play guys, nobody between the benches. I would assume there'd be no media allowed. And I would probably even think that at least at the start, they would probably limit like management and ownership to be on site as well. Like, you really should only have the people there who can make the thing happen.
Yeah. And so, 600 for, I would say, double the amount of players. It's like 25. So you're probably looking at 50 people per team.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of cities that can keep that many players coming in from other countries to be able to facilitate all of that. I know Edmonton's trying to make a big push for it with their facility up there. It's interesting because with the fact of having to quarantine when crossing borders, what intrigues me about their idea is there's 2 rinks. So they've got the main, like, Rogers Center or whatever they call it up there. Their arena, they have a practice facility attached to it as well, and 2 hotels. And so the theory is that they can quarantine in that complex. And so within the hotels, the rink, all of that, they can still do that. So interesting. Again, we'll see. It all still has to, we have to be able to get past with governments. That's going to be a huge part of it. Still a lot to happen. We're not close yet.
And this is all if, right? Like, there's a very good chance that none of this happens and hockey's just done until next season.
Right. This could all be for naught. And we did get, so one thing we got today was what would be described as phase 2 of the NHL relaunch is happening June 5th, Nick.
They released a date?
I believe that's June 5th is that 29-page document. I believe the date for that was June 5th. Maybe that was more specific.
I think they just said early June.
Okay.
And that's based on, like, kind of the information that they have available to them now. So that could change.
Right. So what they've done is they have put out, if you want to go read it, you can head to the NHL. It's called the Phased Return to Sport Protocol. It's a lovely 29-page document that talks about everything needed to make this happen.
So dry. It's basically just standard operating procedures. I got like 2 pages into it and I was like, I have to read these for work. I'm not going to sit here and read this whole thing.
Yeah. There's a lot interesting things. Players have to be tested 2 days before arriving to team facilities. When this phase 2 starts, they are allowed 6 players in team facilities to start training. They do not have to wear masks when on the ice. They do have to wear masks when not socially distant off the ice. They must test twice a week and before starting. So that's twice a week. Every player who's going to be training there has to be tested, which seems like a lot.
Yeah, but like, you got to make sure.
Absolutely. I do know, a lot of folks not super happy with that being the case. One thing that I find interesting is that so they are self-administering temperature checks and also symptom tests. Not sure if you've noticed, Nick, NHL and NHL players not super great with self-diagnosing symptoms for things in the past.
No, they're great at being vague about it.
I mean, if they needed to have a concussion spotter at every game, maybe we don't trust the players to test themselves for symptoms.
Remember when Sidney Crosby said he didn't have the mumps?
Yeah. With like a squirrel cheek. Yeah. This is going to be fine. There's no way that this goes terribly and it all gets shut down 2 days in.
I mean, again, I think the thing with this is none of this is supposed to start until local authorities say it can and lift some of the restrictions in place right now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's still quite a bit of risk.
It is risk to the players for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, I mean, you're hitting people. Like, this is a contact sport. There is no way for you to socially distance on the ice unless you're Connor McDavid. He's the only one who can do it.
Well, in phase 2, it's mandatory. You have to social distance on the ice.
Yeah. So everyone's wearing the red jerseys.
Imagine that.
I mean,
Oh my God.
You're just practicing breakout passes. That's all you're doing.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's like the skills competition. Just run the skills competition at practice with 6 people. It's going to be fine.
They'll wear masks during the skills competition anyways.
Right. So that's an interesting thing. Lots of talk about like equipment rules and regulations. If you want to know more about those, check. Just take a read, because it's like they've done their due diligence. Like this has been. I was impressed when I read this.
Some of it you read, and it's like common sense. Like, don't share towels. Like, you guys need to put it in there.
But they also have like guidelines of like, here's how many towels you have to have.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, all right, so you need to have what? I think it was 100 towels per team per day. Everyone needs their own water bottle with their name on it. We're going back to Tykes.
Yeah, it's really detailed stuff.
So, which is good. I mean, they need to cover their butts so that they don't like have this come back on them, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Another thing that came out today was some more. This one is speculation, and this is not the first time we've speculated on this topic. The draft, Nick, the aforementioned draft. So there's 7 teams not in the playoffs. Those, at the very least, are the teams that will be included in the draft lottery. What would your desired format be? Just those 7 teams in the draft lottery? Or include some others? What do you think?
Make them play for it.
Make those 7 teams play for it.
Make them play for the best possible odds at the draft lottery.
I'm down.
Why not? We're making all the other teams play in to get into the playoffs.
Yeah. Now, do you think those teams are in the worst shape of their life right now?
Absolutely. Why do you think they all voted to not play in the playoffs?
They're like, yeah, we actually assumed we were done. I put on my summer weight, and it's not looking good.
So have we all. But, I mean, yeah, I like the idea of making them play for it, do some sort of tournament. That would be fun. That'd
be great. I mean, I don't think that that's going to happen, but
it's not
be a great thing.
It's not. The other format I'd be okay with is just give the first overall pick to the Red Wings.
This is literally why we still don't have a draft format, is because the draft lottery teams are like, hey, maybe like I want the best odds, and the other teams are like, no, I want the best odds, and no one wanted to guarantee the Red Wings a top 10 pick. So
it's a competitive sport, Carl.
And some of us aren't. But yeah, so we'll see about that. Again, just speculation at this point in time on what that will look like. There is talk that the teams that lose that play-in round will be included in that draft lottery as well. However, the new date for the draft lottery is going to be June 25th. So the lottery on the 25th, the draft itself obviously held later, potentially likely not till after this tournament were to happen, or the cancellation of the season. So that's where we sit with that. So we'll see. Well, we have some news, and I guess until more governments start to give some sort of guidance on reopening and things like that, we're just kind of in a holding pattern.
Yep, as we have been.
As we are. So I guess we should mention it now, Nick. How we missed last week's show.
Yes.
And until there is actual like hockey back, we're going to move to an every other week schedule for the show moving forward. Unless there's like big news.
Yeah. So then we'll jump on and do the update.
We'll jump on and talk about it. But if there's like some more rumors, we'll just let those be. Let those stew a little bit. And so until hockey's back, we'll be in your ear holes every other week. But thanks for tuning in as we go. All right, Nick. Quarantine corner time?
Let's do it up.
Quarantine. Each corner is to be a personal space.
God. New guy's in the corner puking his guts out.
You're gonna quarantine me inside a quarantine? Really?
Hockey Balboa operation is corner the champ.
Am I still in quarantine?
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
All right, so this is our segment where we help you solve your quarantine problems. I mean, we already solved a bunch right off the top, right? We solved the problems of shopping, grocery stores. We talked about barbecuing. There are some folks that have. I mean, I was a little surprised with how many and how diverse these problems are. So here's one. Let's get started with a sports related question. Like it's NHL related.
Okay.
Moving forward, can we just keep arbitrarily moving dates like the NHL does with the draft? Is that a thing we can do?
Sure. Like you mean like what do you mean by moving dates? Like just moving holidays around? So it's the next weekend?
Anything. If you could make next Monday anything, what would you make it?
Oh, if I could make next Monday anything, what would I make it? I would make it Victoria Day again. Just take it off, barbecue.
And now that you have your grill.
Yeah, I could actually do Victoria Day properly.
Yeah. Instead of like, I don't know, what did you eat on Memorial or on Victoria Day weekend?
That was so long ago, Carl, I couldn't tell you. Every day just bleeds into itself right now.
Nick, can you just go back and remember what you ate 2 weeks ago? That'd be great.
No, I can't.
Not memorable. This weekend, memorable.
Yes. This weekend was memorable. Yeah, let's just keep moving dates around. If the NHL can do it, why can't we?
I mean, everyone's doing it, right? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, we just moved our next recording date to the following week.
And we just said, we're just going to not.
Yeah.
And so we did. Just do that. So if next time someone says, hey, could you have something to me by Tuesday? Say yes. Start working on it when you feel like it. And then when that, like, maybe give them a day notice and be like, actually, that date got moved. And they're like, well, why? Man, like I was reading some of these regs. I don't think we'll be able to, like, within social distancing protocols, I don't think we can get it done.
Didn't you read the 29-page memo I sent you?
I would just send them the NHL's memo. It's the best way for you to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find out if they actually read things. Yeah, I'm all for that. I mean, every schedule is changing. I might have 3 birthdays this year. Who knows? I mean,
there you go.
I don't want to celebrate them during COVID, but like I wouldn't mind. Like, when's my half birthday is going to be sometime this summer? Why not celebrate that?
You should. You can have a Zoom call.
Everyone Zoom me my well wishes, but only half of them. Save the other half for my actual birthday.
Yeah, just post it on the internet. It'll be great.
Yeah. Here's the Zoom link. I'll just tweet it out there. And that'll happen. All right. Question number 2, Nick. This one gets a little bit more. This is a real question with a real problem that someone has.
Okay.
I've been told that you are still working. You should pay your dog walker even if they aren't walking your dog because of COVID. However, their dog walker is getting government money because they're off of work. So, should they be paying their dog walker?
But their dog walker's not walking their dogs?
Dog walker's not walking their dogs.
No.
Do you have any idea how much... I had a conversation about something else like this. Do you have any idea how much it costs to pay someone to walk your dog?
I have no idea. I don't have a dog.
I don't have a dog either, and when I did, I walked my dog myself.
Yeah.
How, like, what, like, ballpark? I was thinking, like, what is $50 a day? Is that too much?
Well, how long are we talking about here? Are we talking, like, 3 20-minute walks?
Well, like, one
hour walk? Is that even worth the dog walker's time to do it for $50? I guess if they're walking like 12 dogs at once, maybe. That seems low to me.
It does seem low. So here we go. I've got from the blackcollarsociety.com. They've said in Calgary, going rate is $28 an hour. So for a 1 hour walk, it's $28 for one dog, $15 for every additional dog.
$28. That's it.
An hour.
Man, that's cheap. That's cheap to say I don't feel like exercising. Go exercise for me.
Yeah. So you can pay them. I mean, if you're doing it, let's say, I assume most people will probably only get their dogs walked on weekdays. Save that.
Yeah, probably.
So that's what? $140 a week? So if you were doing it for them, I would say it's probably fair. Like, I would maybe give them something, but if they're also being supported by a government program, I think you're probably fine to just make sure that you still use them when you come back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Maybe I'm hard on this, but I'm like, if I'm not getting if the service is put on hold, I shouldn't have to pay for it.
It's true. Would you
get a dog? No.
I mean, no, you're not a dog. I'm not a dog guy.
No.
What is it? Is it the fact you have to walk them?
They're a lot of work. They're a lot of work. I never had dogs growing up, so they're not. It's just not like a thing that I see as having in the house. My wife really wants one though.
That's yeah. We had one when we got married. Then allergies kicked in, and no more dogs.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking now, though, so let's say you can't walk the dog, but I'm sure there's like some sort of other sort of service you could provide if you're wanting people to pay you while not walking their dog. You could then become like a dog groomer, or just still walk their dogs.
I feel it. Yeah, I mean, at least in Ontario, dog groomers are allowed to operate now.
Yeah.
And I feel like they charge way more.
Oh, now? I mean, because they'll drive up to your house and then you like shove the dog in like this white panel van and it's not sketchy at all. And then they take care of your dog. Maybe you get it back. Who knows?
Maybe it's a different dog.
Maybe it's a different dog. Maybe there's so many dogs in there they can't keep track.
Yeah.
There we go, Nick. That is, there's our second question. There you go. So we both say no, you don't have to pay your dog walker. But we'll leave it up to you. All right, here's the last one. This one comes to us from the UK, Nick.
Okay.
I fear my country is doomed. Should I move abroad? And if so, where?
Dude, join the club.
So right now, I mean, I would say on a normal 2019, I would have made a strong case for moving to Canada. I'm proud of my country. I love my country.
Heck yes.
Made a very strong case. But right now, with what we know about everything, if you had to move anywhere, where would you be going?
I'd be going, I don't know, some remote island somewhere. Smaller population that has not that many cases of COVID.
Like, you could go to Dana White's UFC Fight Island.
I'm not going to Fight Island. I'm not going to Fight Island.
It comes with your own complimentary pair of white Oakleys, an Affliction t-shirt, and barbed wire tats. It's great.
I love how he had a quote out there. He's like, I'm just going to spend the whole 2 months on the island. I'm never going to leave. Okay, dude. It's probably because you can't leave.
I was going to say, there's a reason for that, Dana. And you shouldn't be proud of it.
I've heard East Asia's pretty good right now.
They've got things under control?
I think so.
Which then might be a hard case to get in.
Yeah.
You don't want... I mean, that's the other side, right? To get out of your country is one thing, but to have another country let you in is a different situation.
Completely.
What about this? Here's an idea. There's never been a better time to spend a year at sea. Buy a sailboat and just go. It's worse ideas I've had.
Yes, there are worse ideas that you've had.
You're like, but this is close.
This is not bad. It's not a bad way to do your 14-day quarantine.
I mean, how long does it take to circumvent the world?
Not a long time. I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Like a long time. Right? Yeah.
Why not do that?
The world's big, man.
You could hop on a catamaran and just go.
I feel like the ocean is dangerous when you're far from land and close to land. Like, you got to have a boat that can handle it.
So, like, the middle area where you're, like, not too far but not too close.
It's just right. It's that area where, like, the earth comes back up and you can stand again, and then it goes deep.
Nick is the Goldilocks of the ocean.
Don't
too far from shore. This part's too close to shore. This part's just right.
Don't quote me on this area you can stand in. Don't try that.
I was wondering on that. Is that a thing that you witness?
Not in the ocean, but I know a lot of lakes, at least in Ontario, that we go to. Like, it's like shallow at the where the lake meets the earth, and then it gets deep, and then there's like a spot like 8-10 feet out where it gets shallow again, and you can stand.
I like this. I also like that it's described as where the lake meets the earth.
Is also, fun fact, also the name of my first album.
Where the lake meets the earth. I like that. It's gonna be a good one. Your hair is actually very musician-like. Right? So you're well on your way.
Where the hair meets the skin. This has got to go, man. I got to take this off. I can almost like put this in a bun.
You should put that in a bun.
No.
Next in 2 weeks from now when we're back, that hair's going to be even longer. I'm just glad that you trimmed the beard.
The beard.
You hadn't cut the hair. You hadn't trimmed the beard.
One of them had to go.
It would be unreal.
Yeah, one of them had to go, and I still was not feeling confident enough in my wife to do it. So
I'm almost ready for my second quarantine haircut.
I hate you so much.
I could have, at this point in time, I could have cut my hair, mailed you the trimmers. You cut your hair, mail them back to me, and then I'm ready for my next one.
It's true.
All right, so Nick's against moving. So I guess your island is the perfect combination of in the water but not in the middle of the ocean.
That's right. Where the water gets shallow again.
Where the water meets the earth. That might actually be a Jack Johnson album already. I'm not certain about that, but I seem to recall that.
That's funny. Are you being serious?
I don't know.
I thought you were making. I think that's a really funny joke.
Where the Water Meets the Land is a song on an album by Globe Factory number 23.
Never heard of it.
It is a song.
I bet you it's like some 23-minute like electronic ballad though.
It's 4 minutes and 5 seconds long. And this is a terrible idea, but this is it.
In the faded
I can hear it.
folds of a tattered old map, the places no longer have names.
Oh my god, I was way off.
Line plots a path serpentine to a future much less.
So the 74th view that this YouTube video's had. So they don't know this, but we just got them their most listenership ever.
You're welcome.
Welcome, Globe Factory number 23, where the water meets the land. Check them out. We do not endorse this, and this is not a paid sponsorship. There you go, Nick. That's been a Quarantine Corner. Thank you for sending those in. If you have more questions, real questions, like what to do with your dog walker or where to move, or other questions like what dates can I randomly move everywhere? One that you for sure can. Other people's birthdays. I would move there so that you can forget it and then just say, no, I moved it. It moved. So, anniversaries, if you forget your wife's anniversary and yours, I guess you share it. If you forget just your wife's anniversary, that's a different set of questions. So, anyways.
And a different set of 29-page protocols.
longer than 2019. Yeah, move the anniversary. That's the safe way to do that. Well, Nick, any quarantine questions or problems that you want solved today?
No, because I just feel so good because it's been so nice and warm here. Like I've been outside.
That's wonderful. Today and Sunday were nice. Actually, as I started, it started raining again, but we got like 10 centimeters of rain over the last week. So it's been everything's nice and green, is what it is, which is
well, that's nice too.
All right. Well, this episode of the Fourth Line Podcast has been brought to you by InVentures Unbound, the ultimate platform for innovators, investors, and industry to share, inspire, and interconnect virtually. Even in these times of distancing, connection, and innovation are more important than ever. InVentures Unbound are brought to you by Alberta Innovates to ensure that innovators have opportunities to connect with ideas, investors, and industries from within your borders and reaching far beyond. So, Nick, they are launching a virtual community to let this happen with a live stream of events on June 3rd and 4th. What's fun, they don't know when they were like, hey, can you talk with us? They don't know. I've actually done work with Alberta Innovates before. Great organization that support really, really cool organizations in Alberta. So like a lot of tech things. Anyways, keynote is renowned neuroscientist Tali Sherritt, who will speak on how innovators and investors can harness optimism and vastly improve their decision-making skills. Other topics that they're going to have on this virtual community live stream are how about smarter cities, vibrant communities, healthier living, broader thinking, agriculture in the technology age, innovation of work. Don't miss this out because they're also going to have a pitch battle, which I also hope they combine with a rap battle. And it's like Dragon's Den meets 8 Mile. I can only assume that would be amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So if they don't want to have it as a rap battle, hopefully they're listening. And if they're not, well, nothing to do. If you have a pass to Adventures 2020, you already have access to all of Unbound's goodies. And if you want access to Unbound, there's a way for you to get that at inventurescanada.com. That is INVENTURES Canada.com. Head on over there. Thank you for supporting this show and the Alberta Podcast Network, InVentures Unbound. Nick, you can find us on Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast, mail at thefourthlinepodcast.com. If you want to email us your quarantine corner questions, you can find us at thefourthlinepodcast.com. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. If this is your first time listening to us, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to staying all the way till the end. There is a treat for you that you do not know is coming. And until next time.
It's time for us to wrap up another Fourth Line show. I know what you're thinking. You don't want us to go. 24 teams will play for the Stanley Cup. And I hope that Nick Foligno gets to lift it up.